360 degrees around me. What's to come and what might have been. All the things I missed, piled up in my memory phone. Yeah, but to walk away, I'd have to be out of my mind. I might be a little dizzy, but to walk away from it, I'd have to be out of my
It's your boy Concert Viz 34 back at home.
What up? What up? It's your boy Concert Viz 34.
Yep, so your boy Concert Viz 34 coming to you here.
What up? What up? It's your boy Concert Viz 34. Aria. Okay, so this is Aria, and just tell us a little bit about yourself and about your love for the Dave Matthews Band.
I've been a fan of the band since April 28th, 1998. And if you recognize the date, that's when Before These Crowded Streets was released.
Alpine is definitely a better venue than Summerfest, but we'll take it. I think I've been going to shows for about 20-something years.
I always tell people, like, compare DMB to now to when I first started. And I got started, in my opinion, I feel like I got started late. Like, I was at the very end of the band's prime. I feel like that 03 to 06 was like the end of the prime. 07, 08 was like, you know, we're at the very end. And then when Roy passed.
Dave really, this is the thing. Dave has put, Rashawn has been assigned the quarterback of this team. He is the coach, the play caller. He designs the jams. Dave just shows up and plays whatever he's going to play. Let's see. Can y'all? Okay, y'all probably can hear me now from my USB camera. I having some technical difficulties with my mic. Let me try a couple things here. But thank you guys for joining the post-show stream. I'm gonna try one other thing. Hopefully this mic will work. All right, can you guys? I'm sure you guys. Okay, audio is good. Thank you guys for joining. As I mentioned at the beginning of this show, got tragic word of a DMB taper and video recorder passing away. So just want to say rest in peace to the savage Shiba. And it's sad to hear that news today from a taper friend. We're gonna talk about this show, and we got Connor. Connor, are you home? I don't think so. We're gonna call Connor. We'll call Connor. I see him in the chat, but we're gonna call him in just a moment. Let's bring up the set list, guys. Don't forget to hit that like button. And this was the set list for tonight. O'Connor's in the car. What I will say is I have been to Summerfest. I went for the first time last year. It was not for DMB. It was for Disturbed, Lamb of God, and I think was it Chevelle. Disturbed being the headliner. This festival, it's not a festival in the sense of DMB's not playing this like a festival. This is hey, we bring in a concert tourist to come in to the big amphitheater. But this venue, these grounds that it's on, there's the Bradley or BMO Pavilion, whatever it's called now. There's a smaller pavilion that's not the size of the amphitheater where there's music going on. There's also music at a couple of smaller stages, like any other festival that you would go to. But the main caveat is DMB is in a separate area. You walk in and you go to your right, no matter what gate you're in. And at the far right of the venue, if you're walking, looking ahead towards the lake, fans are able to go to that show if you have a ticket to the show. Otherwise, if you have a general admission ticket to the festival, Summerfest, you could go to the other stages. So DMB does not treat this like a festival. This was not a festival set tonight. You could argue this, that, whatever, but this was not a festival set by any means. And then 10 o'clock, the last acts go. I know Coi Leray was here tonight. Greenski's Bluegrass, or I think that's what it is, Greenski Bluegrass, a couple other acts. I know last year I was able to see a bunch of that hard rock stuff, but then see the Revivalists at 10:15, 10:20. I ran to their set because they started at 10. And before that, I saw TC Carlson from Living Single. If you guys watch Living Single, and he's Kyle from Living Single, Kyle Barker. Anyway, I saw that to say that this is, to me, the coolest festival that I've seen, because you have an amphitheater, you have a smaller theater with elevation and standing areas and sitting areas, and then you have a couple other stages which have good views for smaller acts, mid-size acts. This is not again, I cannot stress this enough. It's not. Oh, Green Sky Bluegrass, Green Sky. That's how you pronounce it. Okay, my bad. But shout out to them as well. So this show to me is, again, this is just an awesome vibe. I wish this was 2 nights, but if you guys are new or don't understand why, Live Nation, they run Alpine, they run this venue, and they also run the Northerly Island venue in Chicago. So part of the agreement DMB has is essentially, for the most part, every other year of touring, they play Alpine. They swap that every other year. And the year they don't play Alpine, which is 2023 in this case, they do one show at Summerfest. So DMB does not play Summerfest on the Alpine years and vice versa. It's this current format. What that does is it allows for the Chicago Metro, which is it's the biggest market in the Midwest. It allows it to have 2 concerts, which are well attended, but it's a venue that's not as good. So Alpine does not get played this year. We get one show in Wisconsin, but then you get two shows in Chicago, just down the line. And actually, what we're going to do is we're going to call someone from the Chicago suburbs who drove up to Wisconsin, who's currently in the car with the family. We're going to call the homie Connor F here. Just give me one moment. We'll set this up and we'll see. We'll talk to him. And then what we'll do is we're going to call Jessica S. And I don't know if she's watching right now. I hope her husband Wayne is, but we will be telling Jessica some good news about something coming up. That's all I can say. Hopefully we'll get her on the line and then we'll talk to her about something that'll be going on here at a future show that I think she'll be happy about. All right, so let's go ahead and call Connor F here.
Hello.
Hey Connor, how you doing?
Doing pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. You're live on the stream, and tell us about this show.
So it's my only pit show for the year, so my vibes were already through the roof just getting into the place. And I went in with the expectation that this is the Thursday night show before a big weekend being Deer Creek, and they absolutely blew my expectations out of the water. High energy set. I feel like they played this show, they catered it to the pit because it seemed very intimate. Dave was interactive the whole night, high energy, and fantastic show.
Yeah, you get the first Lion Our Graves opener full band since 2016, July 27, 2016. And you get Bismarck coming back. You get a lot of stuff coming back. Ocean the Butterfly comes back after 11 shows off. Don't Drink the Water hadn't been played for 6 shows, and that's a huge gap for that song. That comes back. Cornbread tour debut. Virginia in the Rain, Crush close out. How was the beginning of this show? We got Graves, Bismarck, World End, Sweet, Madmans. How was that for the first 5?
The first 5 were really good. That Graves opener, usually, I don't get. I'm not speechless during shows, but when they opened with Lion Our Graves, I was completely shocked. That probably, this could be recency bias too, but that Lion Our Graves opener is probably my favorite opener to a show I have been to. Mm-hmm. Fantastic way to start out a show. I hope they open more shows in the future with Lion Our Graves. Then Bismarck, which I know Don Dingle is in the chat. That one's for you. Another great song. Band plays it really well. When the World Ends and Sweet and Madman's are fun as well. Madman's Eyes being at the 5th spot for 3rd straight show. Something like that. I think Hines mentioned that in the chat. Death, Taxes, and Madman's Eyes at number 5 are the 3 guarantees of life. Pretty good start to the show.
Yeah, and I also mentioned as well, I was looking at shows, just eyeballing it. This is the first 4 songs were not repeats, and all those first 4 songs had a show gap of 3 or more dates. There's less than 5 shows this year that you get the first 4 songs have a gap of 3 or more shows since they've last been played, and Bismarck 11 shows. So even though that Madman's is anchored in at that set spot that it's been sitting in, you have no repeats until Madman's from the previous show. And then you go all the way down to song number 11, Jimmy Thing Brick House Combo. That was only the second repeat of the night for a Thursday night show where they're going to Deer Creek next. And you only have Ants, Virginia in the Rain, Jimmy Thing Brick House, and Madman's as those are the only repeats from the previous night of 2 one-night stands, Pine Knob, and you have Summerfest here. So this show had a lot of fresh stuff and it had a lot of stuff coming back. How was Ocean and the Butterfly at number 10?
Everyone that was around us used Ocean and the Butterfly as a breather song after Louisiana Bayou because we were all going crazy during that song. Ocean and the Butterfly is a great song. The band performs it really well. It's one that I like to hear. Definitely not saying it's boring when I'm saying it's like a calm down song, but it was really hot and we just needed a break from the high energy. So I think that Ocean and the Butterfly after both All You Wanted Was Tomorrow and Louisiana Bayou, it was perfect right there in that spot.
Yeah, so fans were kind of after Bayou, Ocean and the Butterflies played. Some fans were starting to leave to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, starting to go to the bathroom. Yeah, they were taking a break for sure.
Okay, and speaking of bathroom break songs, my bathroom break song is Jimmy Thing. How did it sound tonight?
The Jimmy Thing sounded really good. The horn battle, the Buddy and Tim battle, they gave it their all. And one thing to say about Jimmy Thing, I am fine with hearing that at every show this year because right after is that Brick House, and I am a huge fan of the Brick House. I was jumping around like a kid in the candy store, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Rashawn sang at the second verse of the song. I have not heard any other iteration of Brick House with that second verse. But I think that was the first time Rashawn sang the whole song. It wasn't like a partial iteration. It was the full performance.
Yeah, I'm trying to think because, yeah, they do kind of cut it. Let's see what they... So there's a bunch of... I guess June 23rd is the first one they're counting as a full one. June 23rd, 24th, and then 27th. So it looks like
I didn't listen to any of those couch tour shows.
Yeah. So it looks like he had been adding a little more to that. At least the DMB Almanac. This is unofficial. As far as we have, like I said, I haven't heard every tape. And every version is around. Well, actually, the versions looks like it's around just under 3 minutes. So that could be wrong. I don't know for sure. But okay, there was a second verse tonight, which is interesting. Then from what you're saying. And then we have, I want to ask you about the new song, Only Takes a Moment. Shout out to Cha Cha, which makes a comeback. First Central Time Zone, Only Takes a Moment here. This has been East Coast. What did you think of that new song?
I thought it was great. I don't want to be the guy to say, oh, it should have made the album, but it definitely should be on a future record. And I believe I have a theory on why it took them, a longer gap between, plays. The chorus that Dave sang, he completely changed up the lyrics. I learned the original version, but I started to sing it and I knew it was completely different. And also there was a Rashawn solo at some point, like in the beginning of the song. So they were adding stuff in and changing up lyrics. I think that's why it kind of had a pause between, the multiple shows.
Yeah, I have to listen back to that there. So, and then Cornbread. How was that Cornbread as far as making a tour debut?
I don't think that Dave could have picked a better show for that Cornbread debut. We all love Cornbread a lot, and it was surprising when Dave played it. I thought he was going to do You Might Die Trying because Dave did the little guitar intro, and then they went right into Cornbread. Completely just blew me out of the water. Love it. And then I thought Cornbread was going to be the closer, and then they segued into Ants, which that was another surprise for me as well.
Yep, and Ants it's been played 7 times this tour, but it did take a little bit of a break here. It was played at Pine Knob, but before that it hadn't been played since June 3rd.
Yeah, I saw that Ants took a month off, and I didn't think that they would play Ants tonight just because they played at Pine Knob on Tuesday. but it was the first time that they played Amphitheater Summerfest in nearly 10 years. 2014 was the last time they played it at Summerfest.
Wow. Yeah, so you guys get that back. And then now before that, the cornbread, did Tim do like a slide solo? What type of solo did Tim do?
From what I remember, it was a slide solo. I was too busy dancing the whole time. I took a video of it, so when I go back, I'll watch the video and I'll type it in the chat. But I believe it was the slide solo.
Okay, because the reason I ask is you were there with me at Deer Creek last year.
Yeah,
no
Joe
Tim,
Waller did not do a slide solo.
Yeah, and I actually like that better. I think what I don't like about that, and listen, I love Slide. I'm an Allman Brothers Band fan. I have a poster from their final run of shows. So I don't mind Slide. I love Derek Trucks, but I think with Cornbread, what irritates me is the slide guitar and the twangy just vibes of it. So I would love for Tim to do more of a more of a blues rock solo than the slide guitar solo.
Even something like the Gary Clark Jr. Cornbread from, I think it was the Gorge, a solo like that would be way much better.
I agree. That's just my preference. I mean, the song gets people nuts every time. So I can't say people don't enjoy it, but yeah, I just wanted to know that. And then so the encore, you get Virginia in the Rain and then Crush. How was that?
The original Merriweather encore.
Yes.
I was happy with it. I think Crush is a closer. It's such a strong closer. You know, they had like the 3-show run of Shake Me Like a Monkey closer. I remember in 2021 where they had like 7 straight shows of either Don't Drink the Water or Shake Me. So to get Crush as a show closer was incredible. They could close Crush the majority of the shows, and I'd be happy with it every time.
Yeah, and just very interesting the trend of, like you said, cut from Merriweather, but we've had Virginia in the Rain in the encore a couple other times. Interesting to see that these encores are going. There's a possibility, and I say possibility because we've had some quick ones, but there's a possibility you're going to get about 20 minutes of music in the encore. 25
one
minutes.
Thing else to note, a buddy of mine got a set list tonight, and the original encore was going to be Virginia in the Rain, and So Much to Say Bridge, Too Much, but they changed it to Crush tonight.
Wow, so they switched it up. Okay. And that's a huge shift because you have to then also now you got to get Dave out of that standard tuning for Virginia, get him a drop D guitar, and then you have to pretty much have a longer experience with Crush. Although So Much Bridge Too Much is a whole fun thing too. But that Crush can be pretty heavy on different parts in that outro on with Carter, just ambidextrous greatness at the end of that. So it's definitely something that's not easy to adjust to.
They did a great job with that Crush too. I don't know if you saw Jeff's video that he posted on social media, but they were pretty much interacting with the crowd at that point, and the whole pit at least was crazy for that Crush.
That's awesome. And it's great to see that on a Thursday. Folks, you may want to just go to a midweek show because Merriweather, while still a great crowd, we saw videos, we talked to fans. These last 2 shows have been just on a whole new level, and the creativity, the song gaps are the biggest thing. I think the last 2 shows, you have a bunch of song gaps, things coming back that haven't been around for most of June or haven't been around for a week or so are coming back the last 2 shows. And you're getting these staples hits like Ants and Crush, things that a lot of casual fans want. You're getting those, but you're also getting the Graves and Bismarcks sprinkled in there. and Bismarck coming back after again 11 show gap. Let's go over to the poster situation. I'm gonna pull up a picture. But did you line up for the poster, or did you just go right to the pit?
I was going to get the poster, but one of my buddies who travels with us on the road bought a VIP club ticket, and they let the VIP club people in early, and I had him go back in line, and get me a poster. So I did go straight to the pit, but I obviously got that poster because it is gorgeous. Love that poster.
That's awesome. I'm guessing it's sold out. Do we know if it's sold out or not?
I did walk by a merch stand at the end of the show, and I did not see the poster on the wall, so I'm assuming it's sold out.
Okay, and we got lines here of people. Now, if I'm correct, the merch stands, are those outside of the actual gate to get into AmFam?
They did have one outside of the gate to get into AmFam.
Okay.
All the other ones were inside.
Okay. So there's one out. I think that's what I'm looking at here based on when I was here last. Because what you guys, the other thing about this, if you're watching from home, there's a gate for the main amphitheater. So you can scan your ticket. They scan it when you leave or scan it when you come in, but you can leave the amphitheater to go to other stuff at any time. If your Jimmy thing comes on or Bayou, if I hear Louisiana Bayou at AmFam like tonight, go through that, and I want to check out someone on another stage, you can scan your ticket out, and then they'll scan it back in. Essentially, the gate scanner, they're checking your ticket to make sure, and sometimes they scan it, sometimes they don't. But you essentially, there's concessions, there's all sorts of food options outside of the amphitheater. But also, when you go to this venue, when you get in and they scan your ticket in again, there's food and other merch there. So it's a unique setup here. I love it. I personally think most festivals should do this. Pick an amphitheater, have a main amphitheater where you have certain acts, have side acts come on other stages, and you have that elevation there. So I would highly recommend people, look at the schedule, and even if it's not DMB, check out a weekend. Again, you have Coil Ray, Green Sky Bluegrass, and a bunch of other acts along with DMB. You can leave the DMB show or any other show and go to see a 10 o'clock set. Maybe you're halfway through it, but you can catch the end of another set. So it's a cool experience. How was the crowd? So I know you're in the pit, so it's hard. I know you talked about the pit. How did the crowd look as far as the bleachers, the lawn? Did it fill in? Did it not fill in?
So it did look like at the beginning it was probably 15 minutes before the band, more like 20 minutes before the band walked on stage, and the upper bleachers looked empty. The lawn had more people in it than the upper bleachers, but I mean it looked like a very sparse crowd. And then Dave gets on stage, starts playing Graves. I look back after the Tim solo, and the place is absolutely packed. The crowd did seem very high energy. Once again, I was in the pit, so it could be different than where other people were. But overall, it seemed like a very high energy show, and it did fill in quick. Those upper bleachers did.
That's good. I mean, this happened. Listen, I went to Disturbed here, but sometimes those bleachers, like there were a bunch of tickets at the back of the bleachers last night. So I'm sure maybe some of those are given away. Maybe there's some last minute sales, but there were a lot of tickets still left in the bleacher area. Mansfield has the same type of thing that goes on. The bleacher, there's like seats in what used to be the lawn of Mansfield. They added some seats there. They're not actual bleachers, but they're the same thing. It's just they're very far back.
And then they're not under the pavilion,
right?
Or like the cover.
Yep. You're not under the cover, so those seats in both venues are always available for a lot of different acts. They're available, but good to see that it did fill in. Any other final thoughts before you head down to get ready for Deer Creek?
Really good show. I am still kind of at a loss of words because they blew my expectations out of the water completely. But just hoping to get What You Are at some point this weekend is all I can really say right now.
Yeah, I hope you do too. It is just a great, powerful thing there. Well, thank you so much for being on, Connor. We'll look to try to check in with you in the next 2 nights to see what you think about those shows at the freaking Creek End where I met you last year. We met in real life for the first time there at Deer Creek. But have safe travels back to wherever you're going and enjoy Deer Creek.
Yeah, thank you. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a good rest of your night.
All right, peace.
Peace.
All right, so that was Connor F. Want to thank him for coming on. Let's see. So this is the line. There's a bunch of different people talking about the lines for tonight's show. And again, this is a Thursday show. When you go to Friday, Saturday shows, you expect lines for these posters. A lot of times more people come in for the weekend shows, but for a Thursday night show, it's great to see that there's a poster that people really were clamoring for. I like the poster. I called the let's see if we can pull up that poster. I called this this is Baron Rogers right here. This is Baron Rogers leaving Lake Michigan to try to swim towards New York. Now we got Don Dingo, aka Hines. He's like, well, we got to do something for the Packers fans. We got to add a cheese head to the picture. So this is Don Dingo's limited edition run of. There's only 3 of these that are going to be coming out. They'll all be sold for $3,000. Go to dondingo.com and you can buy the cheese head version of this limited run, $3,000 per poster. And then we have, let's see, we got another version of this as well. We got the Hogwarts. Someone, shout out to Busted Stuff at Stuff Busted. We got this poster right here. So we got Baron Rogers at Hogwarts. So yeah. Shout out to Ron Weasley. He was Ed Sheeran before Ed Sheeran was Ed Sheeran. All right, before we get to Jess, because I don't know if she's where, we're going to look at some of the reaction of the fans online. Thank you guys who gave your opinions online. There's whatever you think of the show, we want to hear from you. Whether you like cornbread or you don't like it. I don't like cornbread, the song. But if you like songs, if you don't like songs, I want to hear as many perspectives as possible from these shows. So we're going to look at this thread here. Let's see. Oh, he said follow him. All right, well, yeah, send me some stuff. Snow outside. All right, so no posters when we went in at 7:45 as far as what I could see. So it looks like the posters did sell out for 7:45. It's always great though to see these posters sell out. We have James says great crowd tonight. I always enjoy this venue. And Snow outside, I hit you with the follow. SR at Rapunzel Girl 1029 says crowd was great. Surprised at how loud everyone was. Great energy and love line our graves. Crush cornbread sounded tight. And nice easy groove all night. Solid venue and solid show. Ed Bro 41 says crowd up in the pit was very high energy. Everybody was getting into it. Merch line was long all night. I nabbed the poster, Lie in Our Graves, and Crush to end it. No words. The Bayou Jam was out of this world too. Awesome. Thursday night before DC, Deer Creek. And T Mike says, open with Lie in Our Graves? Sheesh. Sheesh. Great to see that. Let's see what there was some. Let's see what replies. Caught the end of Cypress Hill 2 on the way out. Yes, I forgot. I did see Cypress Hill was on that lineup for Summerfest. I still have the Summerfest app from when I used it last year. Let's see some of the replies if there was some. Oh, and Cha Cha. Yeah, shout out Cha Cha. Big ups to the big homie Cha Cha. Oh, I forgot to shout out the cities when I had my mic wasn't working, but I was going to shout out Sheboygan. Yo, shout out Green Bay. These glasses right here are from Green Bay. When I was in Deer Creek, right before Deer Creek, my glasses broke and I couldn't get an eyeglass appointment, and I had to get to Deer Creek and I had tape on my glasses. Well, I called the lens crafters in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and I said, hey, I'm gonna be in Green Bay about a week from now or half a week from now. Do you guys have any open appointments? My local lens crafters, all the stuff by me in Connecticut was booked out 3 weeks. They're like, oh yeah, sure, we'll get you in right now. We'll get what day, what time, break a time. Well, I can't do the accent of the Wisconsin accent, but they were very nice and kind. They got me in the first appointment in the morning, and I got these glasses within like an hour of me stepping into the eye exam. Shout out to Green Bay, Wisconsin, but Sheboygan, what up? Kenosha, what up? Fond du Lac, what up? What else? What are some other cities out there? Madison, Wisconsin, what up? What are some other cities out there? But big ups to Wisconsin. Racine, what up? I see y'all out there. Menominee Falls. What's up at Menominee Falls? I wanted to shout out them cities. Hey, Waukegan, Illinois. I mean, that's essentially, listen, it's very close to Milwaukee, them northern suburbs, all the northern suburbs of Chi-Town. Shout out to all y'all. Shout out to the Upper Peninsula, a little bit of a drive. Michigan Upper Peninsula, yeah, a little bit of a drive, but yeah. But great to hear from the fans who were there. I think that's the most important thing. I want to hear from the people that was in the building. Excited this. Excited this too. Let's see. I'm gonna see if we can get Jessica in just a second. Oh, Connor's off. We're gonna take this off. Let's see, Jessica on the shuttle. Let's see. And other thing, what I love too is seeing fans. Let me see if I can find this, and then we'll put it up there. So we'll talk to Jessica, but it's nice when the Twitter fam is able to link up. And last fall, Dreaming Bee, aka Jocelyn, those are her amazing children, and that's Jess on the far left. So we the Twitter universe wanted to connect Jocelyn with Jessica and Wayne because they were able to carpool to a show together, and we said, hey, Jessica is not a chainsaw killer, right? not an axe murderer. That's what it was. Yeah. And so they've been able to go to a couple shows, meet up at a couple shows together, and now they're BFFs forever. And it's great to see the Wisconsin DMB family connecting. And I think Ted Bro saw Jocelyn at another show as well. So everyone I met from Wisconsin was awesome. When I went to Alpine last year, just great people. Some of them were at Deer Creek there. So it's great to see when you make those connections. Now, I'm not gonna you need to meet people at your own risk, um, as well. I do want to say that be careful. You can't just meet anyone and everyone in these streets, because there are some wild people out here in the fan base. I do say tread carefully in certain situations, but we were able to connect people, and get them to be able to link up at the shows. All right, let's see if we can get Jessica on here.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice.
She's on a loud shuttle. We may not be able to get to her. Yeah, because she's on the shuttle, and we may need to. The stream may need to get shut down. I gotta get my rest. Because listen, I'm doing it just like Dave singing for 3 nights in a row. I'm gonna be doing the post show stream. Oh, 3 to 4 minutes. All right, we'll get to her in just a second. Hit there in 3. We'll do a brief recap with Jess, and then give her an update, as well about some. We'll find out. Stay tuned. So, yeah. So another thing I pointed out, and this is I'm big on having open discussions on the set list. There's always this idea, oh, the set lists are predictable, and and here's what I'll say. Let's see if I got this. Here is my post. If you're not on Twitter, follow me on Twitter, IG too, ConcertViz34. There are groups of songs that are easy to predict for any given DMB show. Oh, no, are there groups of songs that are easy to predict for any given DMB show? Yes. Can you confidently nail openers and closers or spot songs with ease? No. As they have been doing since the 90s, they have patterns, but they're still placing songs in unique places and sound great. And here's my thing. I've always said this. People, oh, they're predictable. They're playing these songs too much. If you have an issue with the songs they are selecting, that they're not like the 90s when you had a bunch of A1 songs, you still had some songs that some people didn't like. And there was a lot of skepticism about some songs that many people love now, that are now considered deep cuts from every day. And even some of the Before These Crowded Streets songs, people were kind of, oh, what is this? But eventually fans went over. But to me, it's always been with DMB, if you don't like the song selection, the songs that are in rotation, that is fine. I understand. Be grateful for the band tours. Be grateful for I understand that they could play the same set every night. I get that. But I understand that a lot of people's issues, I think, have to do with the song choices rather than what's in rotation. Because for years, this band had played the heck out of certain songs. In 2000, you got all these new songs that were played 30, 40 times. But there was JTR, okay? It was Busters. It was some great songs that they played 30, 40 times. So arguably, you could argue like if in many people's opinions, a lot of these songs were just better than some of the newer music is good, but a lot of it doesn't match the greatness of the big 3 albums and even some of the stuff after that, some unreleased stuff. If you're going to a tour in 2004 and those, Sugar Will, Crazy Easy, Joyride, shout out to Hines, that's his favorite song is Joyride. Don't let him tell you otherwise. Those are songs that those are quality songs, but they were played a lot. And the band has never telegraphed or given hints that they're going to be a full fish and play out their catalog. They've never played 80% of their catalog as far as songs that are realistically available and in rotation, right? Even at the beginning of this band's life cycle, there was a lot of songs that just weren't played for years. They'd be played and then they just went away for a couple years. And so this band never was going to be that, nor should you expect them to be that. But I think you can have an opinion that, hey, the songs they have in rotation just aren't as good. And to me, what they're doing is they have some very unique songs opening and closing, and everyone's like, oh, they're predictable. Well, you play the set list game and y'all can't even pick the set. Y'all picking on, oh, it's going to be Bismarck. People, the last 11 shows been picking Bismarck. And the band's like, nope, we pulling that off for a little bit. People are like, oh, Busted Stuff is every other show. We started pulling that away. Last year, I remember like they took away Shotgun. I was like, oh, maybe this is going to be in rotation. Or they took away some other songs that just kind of slid out real quick, right? And Monsters, like for instance, Monsters this tour, it started off heavy at the beginning and then it slid away. So this band, again, I don't like Cornbread. I don't like Bayou personally, except the jam, right? I don't like Don't Drink the Water. But Don't Drink the Water was not played for 6 shows. I have to look that up. That is a long song gap for Don't Drink the Water, which to me feels like it's played 3 times at every show I go to. I feel like I get 3 Don't Drink the Waters at every show. Even when it's not on the set list, I get 6. Like I feel like I get 3 Don't Drink the, like it's just played so much. They've taken it off for 6, right? Seek Up has only been played twice this tour. So maybe that's a negative, but you can't say, oh, it's that they have an A and B. And even if you say they have an A set list and a B set list, that's how it's always been. Now you can argue they maybe rotated some stuff around, but even when they did that back in the day, they had less songs to work with. So they only had to memorize so many songs. The older this band gets, the more songs they have to memorize and keep in flow. They've had some personnel adjustments and changes, so it's gonna be something that impacts. And we're gonna get to Justin in about a minute or two, but I've always said people say this band's predictable, but go play the set list game. Now there was one guy or gal who was like nailing the set list and pretty much got everything, but was off by one because they didn't pick I Want You, She's So Heavy. And they were cheating. But the point is, that's the only time I've seen someone almost nail this set list. People miss so many parts of this set list every show. And for everyone who's an alleged set list expert, oh, you had Graves. Yo, you picked the Graves opener. You got Crush closing, right? I know it was the I understand it was the closer for, it was supposed to be the closer for Merriweather, but oh, you had that? You picked that? Okay, boss. All right. Let me see your score. And listen, I don't play the set list game. The point is, I'm not saying, oh, I can predict the set list, but for all these people thinking it's, oh, it's so predictable, pick this. You had Ocean and the Butterfly coming back this show. Okay, Chief. So that's how I feel. And again, I understand both sides. I understand people who are just happy to see this band, and I understand people who aren't as gung ho about the set list choices. And there's only 4 Walk Around the Moon songs. That's on a low end for any given show, even the 2 night stands. But I understand both sides of it. And some people say, hey, well, this band could play. And this is the point. If you don't listen to anything, listen to this. Some people say, oh, well, some bands play the same set every night. The thing is, if this band played this nearly the same set every night, maybe a New York or another show gets a special show, a song. If they played the same set every night, people would save thousands of dollars in tour money, because you would go to your local show, get the set list for that stop, and then you wouldn't go to 50 shows. 60, 100, 200. Some people are around 300 allegedly. I think some of them are lying. Nah, I was kidding. Nah, some people are getting to 300 or have gotten past 300 allegedly. To me, it's if they played the same, like that's a bad argument. Oh, some songs, no, if they played the same set, we wouldn't have FOMO. DMB is not, they don't do what Fish and the Grateful Dead do as far as set list variety, but they don't do what you're like what most artists do. And Taylor Swift is making a whole market off. Even if she didn't do that, she'd still be selling out this place. But Taylor is giving venue specific songs that are only being played at one tour stop. And she's mixing up the set list. She's starting to pick up on that and just add another element, which again, she doesn't need. People, her merch line is like a half a mile long every morning. They have merch in the morning. Kids have summer camp. They're skipping summer camp to go to Taylor Swift for the merch line at 7, 8 a.m. But my point is that the argument, oh, it could be the same set. Like, yeah, that would make things marginally easier for it. But at the same time, if you don't like the stuff, don't go. And if you don't like the songs they're playing, don't go. Save your money. This band tours every year. Even the pandemic year, they had songs. The shows, not songs, shows. All right, we're gonna call Jess, not Jeff. I need to get some sleep, family. I need to get some sleep. Jess. Calling Jess. All right, let's get her on the phone.
Hello.
Hey, Jess, it only takes a moment for you to be ready to get on the call. No, just kidding. Just kidding. I know you're taking shuttle. For those who don't know, Jess they have a whole system. They take a shuttle, and then that way everyone doesn't have to park their car downtown. And so we finally got a hold of you. What were your thoughts on this show?
Oh, it's super fun. It was really good. We had a great time.
And what was your favorite song of the night?
Ooh. What was my favorite song of the night? Well, I could see Bayou for you. I think that was like 10 minutes.
I'm sorry, you're breaking up. You said you didn't like Bayou? What?
I mean, it was a little long tonight.
10 minutes. Yeah, that's a long 10 minutes is long for Bayou.
It was a little long. So, I don't know. My friend who is also named Jessica is with me. What was your favorite song? She doesn't know. I really like the Beatles intro to After Everything.
Okay, so I Want You, She's So Heavy, that partial into After Everything.
And then like the back and forth between Dave and Buddy is just really cool. It's really fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's I know some people think it's cringe, but I think I actually enjoy this song. This is one of those songs that, some of the hardcores don't like, that I love it. So it's great. And they've been working on this all year. I heard it twice this year and both of the shows I've been to. And I think it's really shaping up to be a solid thing that they have for this tour. Let's talk about, when we talked about the whole set, but we want to pinpoint some things. Let's talk about the lines for the gates, lines for the merch. What was going on earlier today? We got a picture. You shared a picture about the lines.
I strolled down there about 4 o'clock or so, a little bit before 4, I think, to see if they had a merch stand outside, and they did. And there was a decent line at 4 o'clock, and I decided to try it out and see. So they opened it a little after 4, and you saw that picture. I was probably, 60 back maybe. but I was able to get tonight's poster, and then I also got the bicycle tour poster.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So once it opened, it was decently fast. And then met up with Jackie and her kids, and she braved the merch line, and she said she got a poster too. So they had a large stack of tonight's poster in the outside merch stand. I could see them in the, like, there's two merch stands right inside the gates. I could see that they had posters on the wall, but by the time we went into the venue, like, one, I wasn't really paying attention because I already had it, but when we left, for sure, there was none that I saw.
Okay. Hashtag not an axe murderer. We talked about that earlier, that we saw the picture you shared, and it's great to see you guys have become such great friends. It appears, at least on Twitter, the pictures look like you guys like each other. We don't know what goes on, but it's great to see that, and it's great to see she was able to get the kids out to the show, especially much closer than some of the other shows they had met up with you at. That was what, Chicago and Minnesota. You guys met with them last fall. So
sure, we drove her to Chicago. Hashtag not an axe murderer.
Yes, we explained that earlier here on Twitter, that we were trying to, that you guys had met up, to give her a ride, and that we had to say, hey, yeah, we know Jess. Yeah, she's good.
I tried to get our Colorado friends to fly into Milwaukee, and they were like all iffy about it. So I don't feel like they trust me 100%. But like, okay.
Well, what's interesting is this show. I'm looking at some of your pictures. A lot of fans are it's night zero for Deer Creek. So this is the night that people gather up. They get to the campgrounds. They go out to Indy, various parts of the Indy metro, and this is a big night to actually meet everyone. And so a lot of people they skipped this show, which it's understandable why they may skip it, because Deer Creek is the big thing, and the meetup, the night zero, is huge for some of these weekends. But even so, you got a lot of fans that we heard from on Twitter. We heard from we're hearing from you now, and we're hearing from, what was that? We just spoke with Connor, and his family was in the pit. So you have a lot of fans that showed up for this show, and I think it's great because, if anything, this was a show that a lot of people would skip just to get to Deer Creek and to be able to drive down there. To quite a bit of a hike, not too much of a day trip, but it's still to do this show, be exhausted, check out of a hotel or leave the house to then drive down to Indy, go through the Skyway, pay $3,000 in tolls just to get through, and then get on. Was that 60? Was that 60?
I don't know. There's a 6 in it. I don't know. Wayne drives, so
Yeah. So when you get into Northwest Indiana, it's a 2-lane highway, and there's 50 trucks in the left lane. So it can be a lot. I understand why people skipped this show, maybe to go to Deer Creek Night Zero, but I mean, this is that Lie in Our Graves. Everyone's talking about that Lie in Our Graves. What was the reaction from the crowd when Lie in Our Graves comes on?
Excitement. I think there's so much anticipation before the show starts, and then it starts, and I feel like no matter what you think it's going to be, people are still excited. Mm-hmm. Whether you think it's like, whether they play what you think they're going to play or not, because it's that, like, yes, we made it, and we're here, and we're going to see it, and it's amazing.
Definitely. And people react like a Satellite opened up a show, and people still like that song. So it's like you have your hardcore fans, but you have casuals, and no matter what they start off with, the energy is going to be high there. Yeah. Any songs you didn't like tonight? Any song? We don't need that.
No. I mean, I feel like we're all getting older, and every show we get is a gift. It might not be every song that you want to hear,
Mhm.
But it's always fun. You know, like, I guess I'd rather them play a song that it's not my super favorite, but still hear one more song.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, it's a good point. Even though they shouldn't play cornbread ever again. And what? No, but it's a good point because there's a lot of bands just on the demand because they take a couple years off.
Right.
It becomes hard to get tickets, and then sometimes you buy a ticket, and then all of a sudden certain shows have less demand. I know Blink 182. They announced this tour in the spring. They start the tour dates in the spring, and initially when the on sale went on, like nobody could get tickets, and then some people were buying what's considered face value for uppers, and then like the week of the show, the uppers are half the price.
Yeah, that's
So
frustrating.
it that doesn't happen as much with now DMB has some challenges, but because they tour every year, the demand doesn't get to a point where you have not all these shows sell out technically,
Right.
or you're shut out. I mean, you can get a lawn seat. I mean, you can even Merriweather with the secondary market. There were you could get someone would get you a lawn seat. They had extras. People back out. So it is something where the fact they tour every year, even the pandemic, they had some shows in 2020 and then 21 they were back at it. It's something to put in perspective. Before we let you go, we want to make this. There's an update live on the air, and this has to do with the Guilford shows.
Oh.
So Mrs. Concert Vids and I will be going up to New Hampshire. We're not going to say the city. All right. No one needs to know where we're at, but we will be going up. We'll talk more behind the scenes. So you and Wayne will have Mr. and Mrs. Concert Vids 34. We'll figure out, get in, but we're going to do the same hotel. And that way we can just all drive up to the shows together.
Shut the
and
front
do
door.
some
This is going to be awesome.
and do some other stuff during the day. Maybe grab some meals, get you out to Maine or some other places. We'll try to do a quick trip. So yes, it's official. We'll be going up there. We got the time approved for Mrs. Concert Vids and things set up. So we look forward to hanging out with you in Guilford. And Guilford, by the way, folks, people have found out about Guilford because Guilford doesn't have many seats left. Like the grid of Guilford for night 1 and night 2, there's not anything left. And then the lawn, you only can buy a 2-day lawn pass for Face. The lawn is actually sold out for Guilford. So for the single night tickets, you can get secondary tickets. And people have lawns. There'll be lawns there. People will be trying to sell last minute.
Right.
But Guilford is becoming, people found out the secret, and Jessica and Wayne, they're in Wisconsin now, going to Deer Creek. But they decided to go to Guilford over SPAC just because of the ease of, at the time, booking everything, getting confirmed for tickets. If you put in requests for Guilford, most people have you're going to pretty much get confirmed. There's some denials, right? There are people who get denied, but it was easier for them to do that and get ticket access early on compared to SPAC, where like pretty much everyone gets shut out because everyone's trying to go. So they decided to go to Guilford for 2 instead of SPAC, have another show there on the side in Guilford out non-DMB. So we'll be hanging out with them for at least 2 of those days and chilling in the same area.
Oh, yay. I'm so excited. I didn't even request Guilford from the warehouse. We tried for SPAC and we got declined. We got declined for Deer Creek this year too, though. So then I was super bummed, and I was like, oh, wait, we could still actually just buy tickets and go to Guilford. So that's what we're doing. And you're right. We're going to be there for about a week. We'll see Dave twice, and then Counting Crows, and then the Head and the Heart and the Revivalists on Saturday, I think. So thanks to Shane and Angie for a pre-sale code, we got some good tickets. So.
Yep. And when I was at Summerfest, I ended my night with the band I love. It was my third ever show of the Revivalists. So last year I did see them in Wisconsin on, I think it was like the Miller Lite stage or whatever that thing is. And I had a ball, sprinted from AmFam the half a mile across to the Miller Lite stage or whatever that thing was to catch the end of their set, about the last 30 minutes of it. So I know you will enjoy that. And the other thing I wanted to know, how was the smoke today? How was the air quality?
It was not as bad as I was thinking. They had masks, like free masks at all the gates. There were some people that were wearing masks, but I didn't feel like it was like super, super awful.
Okay.
It's definitely gotten better here than it has been. So yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of things canceled in the area.
Okay.
Because of the air quality, but Summerfest has gone on as scheduled, and I mean, it was fine. I didn't really have any issues.
Yeah, and I think the fact that Milwaukee is so far up north compared to Indiana today still had some stuff. Ohio, the further south you are, that smoke is carrying down. And so Blossom canceled the Robert Plant, and I believe it was Allison Cross, who I've seen her at the Outlaw Fest. But they canceled a show at Blossom. Didn't even reschedule. They canceled it, and that was yesterday. And I put that post. Some people are like, "Hey, don't post it, don't do." But I think because they were further south, and also just I think Robert Plant, maybe health wise, an older crowd, they wanted to cancel. Yeah. But DMB tries to pull it out. Bend, Oregon was bad in 2021. I was there couple days before at the Gorge, and my eyes were itching. I had nasal stuff, sinus stuff kick up with that smoke from 2021. So the band has played through smoke in Bend, Oregon specifically. That's probably that I can remember talking to people that have been to the Gorge. The Bend, Oregon show is probably the worst AQI, air quality index, that the band has ever played a show and went on with. So they're willing to go. I think it's more about the local officials. I think same thing with the Allison Krauss Robert Plant show. That's more of a venue call, health and safety, talking to the county officials. And Cuyahoga County is what canceled that more than the band, more than the actual act. So anyway. Sure. Thank you so much for being on. I got to get off. I got to get to bed before I get yelled at by Mrs. Concert Vids that I'm up too late past my bedtime. But safe travels to Deer Creek. And
thank you. We'll almost home. We're going to pack up and do it
Yeah.
again.
Sound familiar? Wasn't that Clarkston? Last year you did Clarkston, the 98 degrees. You went to see Dave, and 98 degrees showed up on the thermometer bill. And then you went from there to Deer Creek, and then you did Alpine, did Willie Nelson. So yeah, you've done some driving before. This will be a little lighter for you, but safe travels and enjoy Deer Creek.
Thanks, friend. Talk to you soon.
All right, take care. Bye.
All right, bye.
All right, so that was Jessica, and shout out to Connor and Jessica. Thank you both for coming on the stream. And I cannot say enough about Wisconsin. It's just a lot of fun going there, as far north as Green Bay, as far south as Milwaukee, and did Alpine as well. All right, so what we're going to do again, this stream is dedicated in memory of the Savage Shiba, and we will close out with this next one. Now, this next clip that we're going to play to close out the show and the outro video. This is a video from my first ever Gorge show, much closer than the video I shot from here. And Drunken Soldier had not been played for a while. And it was played. There was a little bit of a twist on the lyrics here. And it was a liberation, August 30th, 2019. Just a special day in my life because, again, it was my first Gorge ever. And I was much further back in the lawn, but just great atmosphere. This gave me chills, and this is a song I did. I was able to catch this 5 or 6 times, I think, prior to that. Well, I can't remember. At least 3 or 4 times before that. And where I was in the crowd, there wasn't as much fanfare, but I think I had a lot of casuals around me or just people who didn't know the newer stuff as much. But this was a special moment of that weekend, as Drunken Soldier being liberated. So we're going to play that. And rest in peace again to the Savage Shiba. The contributions will be missed. And again, just what I've heard, overall great person from the tapers I've talked to. So we'll end with this Drunken Soldier from Gorge, 8/30/2019. You can go on YouTube, the Savage Shiba here, and you'll be able to also check out that page here. But here's Drunken Soldier. Thank you guys. I'll be on tomorrow night or later today. It's 1:23 a.m. In the East Coast, so I'll be on later tonight. Band goes back to East Coast time for the shows in Indiana, but the sun will be out until like 9:30 because they're very close to that time zone line in northwestern Indiana. They're about 45 minutes, an hour or so from where you get over from Eastern Standard to Eastern Daylight Time to Central Daylight Time. So those out there, Deer Creek, whether it's your first time or you've been a veteran, enjoy that sun being out for a long part of the show. And enjoy the tailgating. Be safe, be responsible, clean up your trash, look after one another. It's your boy Conservative 34. I'll see you guys for Deer Creek post-show stream in about 18 to 20 hours from now. Peace.